Now here on Zero Block 30, we have the stars of Netflix Southern Survival, which is unbelievable. I think that these guys are absolutely incredible with what they're doing, and the background that they have, you're going to see it on the social clips, is by far, we've had this, I think, 302 episodes, the best one. It's so good. They have such cool, like, tactical vehicles that you could tell they can actually go in the mud, that I had to ask them. I was like, is that fake? And nope, sure enough, Brandon went down and he ran through their garage there, their workshop there, and here he goes again. It is absolutely incredible. They got the COVID vehicle. It looks great.
We thought it was a fake Zoom background. Yeah, no, the stars of Southern Survival are absolutely crushing it. If you want to know how to escape a fire, hurricane, vacation survival, disaster striking, these are your guys. And they're also blowing shit up and messing with weapons and having all sorts of fun stuff that I'm quite frankly pretty jealous of. So Daniel Dabbs and Brian Curran, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Brandon.
Brandon, fuck me. I'm sorry. I'm already nailing it. Brandon Curran.
It goes by Curran 1776.
Yeah, you can call me Curran 1776 and I'll respond every time.
So. Okay.
So we have a little bit, I wanted to ask you guys, first of all, doing the battle box and being in the Survivor game right now has got to be like being in the San Francisco area in 1849, where you guys just basically struck the survival gold. How fortunate were you to have your company set up at this time?
I guess just very fortunate, man. I mean, these things happen on occasion. I mean, we've been preaching for 6 years now since I started the company how important it is to be prepared. And I think people are finally really listening, of course, because 2020 has really kind of opened people's eyes as to what that means from a epidemic standpoint, as well as the wildfires out west that are happening right now. And of course, we're right in the midst of hurricane season. So Brandon and I talk about this regularly. We do, of course, our own live feeds and instructional videos. And, we really just try to get our customers and non-customers really thinking about what it means to be prepared. And, that doesn't mean that we run around with tinfoil hats. We do have a large, Battle Box Ranch here is a pretty large property. We don't have bunkers buried underground. It'd be really cool, but
not that you'll tell us about it.
We just ain't telling you about it. Yeah, we're not telling you everything.
Yeah, but I think some of the previous series that were on TV and stuff like that probably gave a negative connotation to the prepper industry, and I guess Brandon and I fall into that. Naturally, we don't think that we're weirdos with tinfoil hats. We just really want to inspire people first and foremost to think about prepping, and second to that is just to really inspire people to want to get outdoors again. And I think people are kind of discovering what that means to get outside and explore, because everybody just kind of got bored sitting around doing Zoom calls and stuff like that for 2020. So
I mean, the key to survival is to have fun with it. Anything that you can have fun with, you tend to do it, right? So prepping and getting into survival space can be fun. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom, right? It's all about being prepared.
What's the point in surviving if you're not having a good time? What's the point? But so you've been
show.
Well, you've been doing BattleBox for 5 years now. It's grossed over 100 million over that time, and 1 million subscribers. Was this something you two were always longtime friends, and then you started doing this, and then Netflix found you and reached out, or how did this all come about?
It's kind of a long story. I'll try to put it in a Georgia peanut shell here.
So have you ever heard of farmersonly.com?
Oh, yes. I've signed a few friends up for it.
That's where we kicked it off.
Not at all.
Love it.
I'm just kidding.
So basically, I've always been an outdoor kind of guy. I grew up hunting and fishing and camping and doing all that. And I grew up through that with my friends in high school and things like that. So I started a YouTube channel after doing some filming for a few years, just to have fun, kind of be myself, let my hair down, so to speak. And while I was building my YouTube channel, I actually saw an ad about BattleBox on Instagram. I believe it was on there, or maybe it was a post, not technically an ad. But anyway, I thought it was really cool. So I've actually been on both sides of the fence as a consumer and now as an employee. So I started doing battle box reviews on my YouTube channel, and talked to Daniel on occasion, and over the course of about 23 months or whatever, we really kind of hit it off as friends. We really he enjoyed my content. I enjoyed his product, obviously. And it just blossomed from there. I kind of inadvertently became the face of the company. They started using my videos on their website. People started associating me with BattleBox and vice versa. And he ended up calling me one day. He's like, look, dude, I need you to move down to Georgia. You want a job? I was like, oh yeah. I was I've turned wrenches for 24 years. Yeah.
Come blow things up with me. Yeah.
Yeah. Come down here and let's do this together, you know? And, and man, Daniel's got a great team, had a great team from the beginning with his partners and all. And I just felt like it was a great opportunity for me. And I wanted to be part of something big and help grow BattleBox. And, just over time, shooting videos, content with Daniel, having fun, putting out a great product. We got noticed by some talent scouts and finding our content, and the ball started rolling. About a 3-year process.
And Brandon, what about you? Like when we have astronauts on the show, we ask them what their backgrounds is, and they say like test pilot and things like that. Starting something like BattleBox, what's your background in order to start something like that?
Well, actually, I was in a different industry, in the screen printing industry. It was another company that I owned when I actually launched BattleBox. And really the idea came from just noticing a trend in the subscription box space several years ago, and seeing a box sitting on the counter at home. It was like a Birch box or something, like a makeup box that was, $10 a month sample subscription. And immediately, my wheels kind of started turning, and I was like, well, what would a box for me look like? What would a box for people like me look like? And, that's kind of started with the Knife of the Month Club, and sort of developed from that. I mean, I just sat down with a notepad, and, of course I grew up doing Boy Scouts. And of course, back in the 80s, we'd stay outside, all day long and ride bikes and stay in the woods.
We didn't have cell phones.
Yeah, we didn't have cell phones. So we were always outside building forts and like drawing maps and using pocket knives and things like that. Of course, growing up hunting, just like Brandon mentioned, I mean, heck, that's where I remember learning how to drive a stick shift, was out on the hunting property, And so, so we've always been into the outdoors, and I think it's just a really good positive message, of course, in 2020. And for the future, Brandon used to be a part of an organization called Passing It On Outdoors, and we sort of mimic that a little bit here, taking note that, if we don't teach children and youth these skills, then eventually they'll be lost to time, because, all they know is doing this all day, right? Just typing with their thumbs. And if you really kind of sit down and think about what the future looks like in 20 or 30 years, if you don't get people involved in this kind of stuff, it's actually pretty sad to think like technology is just completely taking over. And it's really good. The plus side of things out of all of this kind of negative stuff that's happened for 2020 is I think that that's really happening right now. People are, you go down to the local store and kayaks aren't on the shelf at all.
Yeah.
Emergency food and camping equipment, stuff like you can't find any of that.
Right.
Dehydrated peas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny to see that that's the aftermath of what's happened with this pandemic. Is like, great, people are getting outside again. I drove by a basketball court that I've never seen anybody on in years, and it was packed full of like 50 guys playing basketball. And
My kids ride their damn bikes throughout the neighborhood,
which is new. Like,
no more.
They're
like, we're going outside to ride our bike, play with friends. I'm like, you're doing what?
Yeah. What happened? Is the PS4 broke? Do I need to get another one? Like,
yeah, like is the Wi-Fi down? I need that fucker for work too, man.
But I like
exactly.
And Brandon, you said that you turned wrenches for 24 years. I spent 10 years in the Marine Corps, never used a circular saw in my life until the pandemic and quarantine struck. Started doing it, and now I've gotten better, like where I'm making my own axes and doing stuff like that over the course of time. You have somebody that was like me, just a straight up knucklehead, but doesn't know anything about survival techniques. What's their circular saw where you're starting them off from scratch?
Starting them off from scratch would be just some basics like understanding food, water, shelter, and being able to source fire. Those 4 things, if you've got a pretty good grasp of that, you're starting off on the right foot. I mean, obviously we need water to survive. I mean, if we don't have water,
that's true.
Be able to purify water and stuff like that. And I'm not talking about having, you know, a Dasani bottle with you all the time. Like what if you actually had to source water? Like, how do you know you're getting water that's not going to make you sick? Do you
just
know
gotta
how
find a
to
V-shaped
purify
long
it?
stick and walk with it until it goes into the ground.
Yeah,
right,
and
the
then
water
dig a lot.
Yeah.
But you know how to purify water. Well, to do that, you got to know how to make fire. You know, what if you don't have matches? What if you don't have a lighter? Do you know how to make fire? Building a shelter, you need to have something to cover yourself and keep yourself warm and things like that. And then obviously food. We can go a little bit longer without food than most people think. Water, not so much. Or water. I say water. I think there's a U in there.
Down here we say water. Well, and a lot of that stuff sounds extreme, you know, and most people, you know, maybe some of your listeners are going, well, I've got a big lighter in my pocket. Why do I need to know how to start a primitive fire? Well, you know, you may not, right? But we kind of liken it to, you know, you wear a seatbelt in case you get in an accident, right? You have insurance for that purpose. And so that's what this kind of is. These
and you might have just dropped your lighter in that water you just found.
Yeah,
right, exactly. And I mean, things break, and you have to be able to improvise with
fuel
it.
runs out.
Fuel runs out. I mean, and there's lots of ways to skin a cat, so to speak. There's tons of different ways to start fire. There's tons of different ways of purifying water. Do you need to know them all? Maybe not. But is it make it fun and cool to learn it? Then you're learning something, and then one day when you need it, you might go, I remember that crazy bearded guy saying, do it like this.
And we like to show people how to do these things and do it in a fun way. You know, one thing that
you guys aren't doing PowerPoint on the Netflix show.
Right.
No. We want to appeal to people. Like,
we like to have fun.
I'm not going to sit here and give somebody a dry eyes commercial. All right. And I learn from being entertained. So I try to portray that when I'm trying to teach something.
So the show shows a little bit about what that process is for us testing products. Of course, we always try to blow stuff up. That's kind of Brandon's MO. We got a whole like 200 gallons of gasoline sitting right behind us on the other side of that wall. So so our neighbors hate us. But
luckily, they're not next door like a suburban neighborhood, though.
They're not real close, but you can hear us from several miles away.
The goal is to see whose car alarm I can set off that's the furthest away. You know.
So we test these products. We do it in an extreme way, and we kind of use that as a litmus test for, is this product good enough for us to consider sending it to our subscribers? And that's really what Southern Survival, the TV show, is all about. And you know, Battle Box is, for most of our subscribers, kind of a roadmap for what they can learn or maybe do with their kids for the month before they receive their next one. So it's just a lot of fun, man. It really took off for us, and we couldn't be happier how things have turned out. We're very, very thankful for.
I bet, you know, watching Southern Survival with your kids, and then going on a hike with them with the Battle Box and shit, like seeing like, all right, we watched the show, let's see if we can. Because I'm really into hiking, but I'm not very into preparing. So I've had a couple times where I'm like, in the woods. I look up and I realize, oh, I missed whatever marker I was supposed to find. And
this side of the mountain's covered in ice.
Yeah. Or this side of the mountain's. I've once called them and was like, guys, I think I'm like really have screwed myself here. But like, I'm not prepared. And you don't know until you don't know. And all of a sudden it hits you like, oh shit. I sure wish I had prepared a little bit for whatever I've just gotten myself into.
Well, it's funny, like what what you're just talking about, we've got a video, matter of fact, dropping today with a product test that Brandon did this week, specifically on it's a spot tracker GPS. And if you get into a situation where you're completely lost and can't, figure out how to get home, or you've broken your leg and you can't walk, whatever it is. I mean, it is a preparedness item. You press the SOS button and the geos system of people are going to be alerted.
It's like
and they're going to come save you, basically.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm subscribing right now.
yeah.
And of course,
sounds like you may need that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to use this last 1% for my Instagram story. Look at my bloody hands. Like, that's the way I roll.
Push a button and the Avengers come in and save the day for
Yeah.
you. So, I mean, it's peace of mind. When you have peace of mind, you're out hiking and you go, oh no, I'm lost, or oh no, this is a situation I'm in. You go, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you can bring that stress level down because you've got an understanding of what you need to do for a certain situation, or even have a product that's going to help you, you're good.
Or you may have a compass, or you may not know how to read a compass. Those are things in the past that we've
compass will get you lost if you ain't careful.
And if you really get deep into the types of skills we encourage people to learn and things like that, is how do I find direction with the sun, right? And using a stick and some shadows, and I mean, there's a whole plethora of things that we go over at BattleBox, from, like Brandon mentioned, not just the primitive stuff like starting fire, but we've sent kits before that really like vehicle survival kits, for which everybody can relate to, right?
Yeah.
Like flat
the
tire
poor
on the side
dad
of the
who
road
takes
type
his
stuff.
kids to cut down the Christmas trees, and like a month later they find them in the car, like covered in newspapers, keep them warm. They could have used your box. Do you ever hear from people who reach out who are like, hey, I watched your show and I found myself in this situation? Like, do you get feedback from people who used your skills? Like, do you have a good example of somebody who's
last week, I can use myself as an example. One of the products that you see in the rescue
episode 2, I think it is.
Episode 2 on the show is this little $10 tool. It's called a Rescue Me tool, and we sell them on the site, of course, and we've sold a lot of them. But I had to use it last week because I was driving down the road and came across an overturned vehicle, and there was a lady in it, and she couldn't get out. And so, so you use that tool, of course, to cut the seatbelt, and then, of course, to break the glass if you need to. Her glass was already broken, but I did use the seatbelt cutter tool portion of it. And yes, we get feedback like that all the time. Tourniquets we've sent have been used in real world scenarios. There's actually years and years ago, we got a email about like a shark attack on the coast, and the guy was like, yep, my wife always was wondering why I was carrying around all this BattleBox gear and why I needed this tourniquet, and guess who was the only one on the beach?
For that is just perfect.
Yeah, that's
I know, right?
You said I wasted this money, you would have been eaten up by a shark, honey. You better be saying thank you.
She stopped complaining about the subscription after that.
We've even got emails and comments on videos or comments on Facebook from guys who have been getting BattleBox, and the wife was like maybe not so into it to start with. Now they're getting upset because their wives are stealing some of the products that they like out of the box and using it for their own uses.
Our female
I need that
has definitely
pocket
increased.
knife necklace that you're wearing right now. Like, I'm going to go and order one of those bad boys. But with putting these together for the last 6 years, I'm sure you guys don't have like proprietary patents and things like that for all the equipment that you put into it. I'm sure you get sent stuff like, hey, this should probably be in the BattleBox all the time. What's some of the things that you've gotten that you're like, fuck this, no way, that's not getting in our box?
Cheese.
Cheese?
I don't know. There's
another
some
BattleBox
products
with no cheese.
Yeah.
Great.
There's some stuff that just doesn't pass the sniff test. I mean, watching the show, of course, you see another version of that Rescue Me tool that's like a glass breaker that just fails, and you see
it
Brandon
blew apart when I was using it.
See Brandon and the team like
that engineer's got to be like,
this is junk. And of course, it's not a huge surprise. It was like some cheap thing that came off of Amazon or something, if you will, which is kind of I guess a testament to let us don't just go to Amazon and buy all this kind of junk that claims that it's going to save your life or whatever. BattleBox, we put this stuff to the test so that you don't have to. We make sure that it works before we send it to our customers, and I don't know. I think that's the best way to do it. It's just, and then of course, like I said, we do it in a fun way. The subscribers are always, there's a plethora of customers that are that got their own YouTube channel that kind of do their unboxings and try to kind of mimic Brandon in a way, like how he started, and now he's full time here with us here at BattleBox. You see people getting their kids involved with opening these boxes on their tables or with their families. It's just a really cool experience, I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I've made a promise to our listeners that I'll never run again after doing 10 years in the Marines. I'll never run. I want you to make a promise to our listeners, Daniel, where once you're done, once you're retired and you move on, you sell BattleBox to somebody else. I know that you said a lot of your subscribers are normal, but there's got to be that 10% that isn't. Will you promise our listeners that you will release the emails of those 10% who are not normal that you get, I'm sure?
Release the emails of the not normal people. Sure. Yeah.
I would love just to read a book of that just sitting on the toilet, and that just the book that you read, like, man, that's a wild.
Brandon and Daniel, I've been in my hut in the woods for 5 years now, and this has been working out great. My final question.
You didn't let him answer, Kate. He's gotta say yes or no.
Absolutely.
Oh, love it.
He's doing it.
How about we just make the book ourselves and then we'll send you one?
Okay, great.
I mean, we could make a pretty funny book with just kind of some of the dumb customer service questions we get at times. But,
I bet people using that stuff. Give me, I'm going to subscribe and I'm going to take it out in the woods and you'll get a dumb email.
I don't think that's unique to BattleBox. I think just like in general, like in the internet,
business period.
On the internet, people just like seem to just not know how to be like alive. I don't know. Like human beings. They're just
your flint tool.
You need a
BattleBox
just for internet culture.
Yeah, that would be. And final question from me: you legitimately test this stuff out. Everything, like you said, it passes the sniff test. So and I see too, just on your own social medias, you're out in the boonies fishing and going on adventures and doing whatever. That's just the way you live your lives. Has there ever been a situation for each of you, a Kate lost in the woods situation, where you have that? Oh shit, I'm really about to have to rely on this stuff that I've been learning to get out of this.
I mean, I think Brandon and I are always sort of over prepared, if you will. Like he mentioned earlier, peace of mind is very important to us. Redundancy is very important to me, especially. I'm sure Brandon feels the same way. We're give you an example. Like I said, we're in the middle of hurricane season, and right now the power could go out and this Zoom meeting would still run as if nothing happened. I mean, everything here is on generators. We've got excess fuel. We've got extra chainsaws for trees that go down. We've got the tractor if we need to.
You guys are
stuff.
big electric chainsaw guys, right?
I didn't know that. I didn't know they made a Tesla chainsaw, but I'll try anything once, we try not to find ourselves in those situations. I can't say, Kate, that it hasn't happened before. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. When that incident happened.
Nothing necessarily has happened to us, but we have. When Hurricane Florence came through a couple years ago, up through South Carolina and into North Carolina, we were able to mobilize and go that way to help. So it's not necessarily always, how am I going to protect myself? How am I going to survive myself? Blah, 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 blah. If you've got peace of mind, if you've got the equipment, if you've got the know-how, you have the ability to help others, help your neighbor and stuff like that. And just like we were talking earlier about passing on, you kind of, maybe if you go help somebody now, they go, oh, well, I want to be prepared like that guy. I want to be able to pay it forward and help my neighbor. So
I think that's overwhelming to people if they think about, well, all the stuff that I need, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you do it on a monthly subscription level, you get a little bit at a time and you sort of build those preps and and you don't have to do it all at once. And I think, that's important because at the beginning of 2020, right, when the pandemic happened, there was shortages of masks, right? Why? Because everybody went out and bought them because they didn't have them and nobody could find them. Like I said, emergency survival food. There's a cool product that we sell that goes in your bathtub and you fill it up with water. It's kind of like a bladder. So you fill it up with water. If your power goes out, you've got clean drinking water. You can flush toilets, you can cook. Things like that started selling out. We saw this across the board in the survival and outdoor gear industry. BattleBox customers, I'd argue they weren't as panicky as the rest of the planet, right? Because they've been receiving this stuff. A lot of these people have been around for 6 years. So
it's a mindset.
Yeah.
It is a mindset. When you go to the grocery store, you know, buy one extra, you know, package of toilet paper.
Sugar.
I might start getting prepared with. I might start getting my life together, guys.
Okay.
I might do it. I might do. And what's Southern Survival's out on Netflix right now. There are 8 episodes people can watch and kind of learn this stuff. BattleBox is a subscription service. What's next for you guys now? What's the next big thing?
I mean, I heard astronauts earlier. Somebody said something about astronauts.
Outer space
maybe we'll do an episode on like how to survive on the moon.
Actually, I'm still working on my long-term life goal since I was a child of becoming Magnum PI. So I'm still working on that. That's probably next.
Pretty close with those vehicles you got behind you.
Yeah, there's an evolution happening, and that's where I'm going.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, always wanted to meet Magnum PI, man.
We appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
man. Thanks for having us. It was a great time.
Thank you.